Welcome to this week's episode of the World of Roofing podcast, hosted by John Kenny of Cotney's Attorneys and Consultants and Andrew Rowley of roofmapping.com, where we will introduce you to a new roofing industry craftsman from around the world.
Well, good morning, everybody. John Kenny with Cotney Attorneys and Consultants, and I want to welcome everybody to our brand new podcast. We're going to call it the World of Roofing. So this is a little bit different. I've got two friends here with me, both from, as they say, I guess the other side of the pond. They're both over in Great Britain. I got Andrew, who is with Roof Mapping, who's one of our affinity partners. You probably saw the release go out recently and a lot of interesting things there. So Andrew Rowley, is my co-host. He will be doing these with me every time we do them. So I'd like to take a minute, Andrew, to introduce you. And how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and how you got here?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Andrew Rowley. I've been in the sort of construction architectural world for sort of 25 years now. Started off in architecture as a junior, worked my way up, found myself in roofing. I was managing a design team of about 7 or 8 tapered insulation designers. So we saw a lot of different roofs being done, new build, refurb, anything that could have tapered insulation we were designing. So that was really my step into the roofing world. From that, I became a building surveyor. So I was out more on the fields, on the roofs, looking at the quality of the work being done by the contractors. And that's what really sparked sort of my main interest in creating roofmapping.com. From the designer side, I saw the work that was being done, maybe not appreciated. And then when I saw the guys on site doing their quality work, the craftsmanship that they have, sometimes that's not appreciated as well. So I wanted to create a website where we could take all of that pride and passion that I was seeing on different social media outlets and really give them somewhere permanent to put that. So once it's on the map, it stays on the map. You don't have to go filtering through, but it's a place where anyone that's in the roofing industry can put their work, whether they've designed it, whether they've installed it, supplied the materials, tell your story on an interactive database almost. So that's what I've created. And now I'm really trying to push it out there so that more people can get involved so that we can really fill the map with the quality and the craftsmanship that's being done out there. There's 4 things that we really want to do, and that's explore the world of the roofers, inspire the next generation, because I feel that if you show the youngsters what can be done, it might inspire them to be involved in it. Improve the quality, so hopefully if people are putting their work on, they're going to want to do good work, because hopefully potential customers don't want to see shoddy work being done or paid for. And to promote, give everybody, regardless of the size of your company, somewhere to promote your work and to promote the pride and passion that you have so that you can find new customers. So that's really what roofmapping.com is about. And that's what I'm trying to do, and working with people like Joe and others to show the love that they have and that pride and passion.
Yeah, no, we'll get the links out for everybody out there listening to go check that out. That's actually how Andrew and I met. We met through LinkedIn. I saw it. I thought, wow, it was been a while now, probably over a year ago when we first hooked up on there. I said, what a great concept, because out there, if a lot of people who know or don't know me, I was 45 years in the roofing side of the business. I'm 3rd generation roofer here in the U.S. And, craftsmanship has always been the biggest thing that I've always pushed, that and training, because that's what really sets the best of our industry apart. And that's where Joe's going to come in here in a minute, because I told some people we were talking to Joe today, and they're like, oh, I know who he is. And, you got quite a reputation over here in the U.S. with some of your work that people are seeing. So that's an interesting thing, and it should be very proud of it. So those are what we're going to cover on this World of Roofing as we go through this. We're going to get that craftsmanship out there. We're going to hear the story of folks here like Joe, and Joe's story will be coming up a bit. And we also want to encourage not only, if you watch what goes on, the Europeans absolutely have one of the best apprenticeship and training programs in the world. That's in my opinion. I also work a lot with the IFD over there. I'm on their board, and I enjoy hearing about the different countries that are over there and what they're doing to train. So here in the U.S. and in Canada, we also want to be able to bring you all into the fold to be on the show as we go along, so that you can show, the craftsmanship that you're doing here. And I think one thing I always like to say when I'm working with the IFD is roofing is that common denominator. No matter what part of the world you're in or what country you live in, we're roofers, right? That's what unites us together. So that's what this is about, getting all that out there. So that being said, Joe, I'd like to introduce you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and especially the type of roofing that you do. I think it's extremely interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm Joe, and I'm a second generation Master Thatcher. So for those who don't know what Master Thatcher is, we put a straw onto a roof, and there's no other material, so it's just the straw itself keeps the water out of the roof. I trained with my dad since when I was 16. That's the only thing I've done, and the one thing I particularly fussy about is just getting that look, that appearance. For me, it's not just a roof covering; it's also an artistic piece of work. And people are spending a lot of money on these roofs, and to me, it's got to be practical, but also it's got to look the part and look spot on. Yeah.
So where do you so Master Thatcher, so here in the US and that I know I will give you an example. A lot of times in some of what we call our theme parks, like our amusement parks and that, they have the thatch areas. Like here in Florida, we have a place called Busch Gardens, and they have a jungle area where they have a safari, and they've got it. And I know when they did that, they actually had to bring people in outside of the USA to be able to do that, because that is a very skilled part of the roofing industry, is to be able to do that. Like you said, there's nothing else under it. It's not only a matter of being able to put it down in the correct layers and be able to get it to be watertight the way I'm sure you weave it. I don't know a lot about it. That's why I'm very interested in this. But then you also have to be able to cut it, and you're able to make designs. I've seen some stuff on some of these thatch roofs that blows my mind. It's like you say, it's like looking at an art canvas.
Yeah, so it goes on very similar to tiles. We put it on in lines, and each line then could cover the fixings, then covered over as you go to the top. And it is cut. The ridge itself, the top of the apex, what we call the ridge, that's where it's all cut, and there's ornate pattern on that. And then you can actually bring as decoration, cut decoration into the coatwork, which is the main body of the roof. It's not. There's a few in the States and Canada, but it's predominantly the European thing. In England, there's you get whole villages that are just purely thatched.
So how about the material, Joe? Is it like, do you guys, it's special? What is the material? I mean, that makes up the thatch, and how available is that? And is there a drying process? So I guess what I'm asking is, how particular are you as a craftsman to what you put down? Is it like, do you go and look at the batch as it comes in, and some of it's good, some of it's not?
Yeah, so there's for me, for where I am, there's two types of material that I use. So there's straw, which is just normal wheat straw. It's the old varieties that were there before the advent of the combine harvester. So you're talking, it's sort of 6 foot length. It's real tall stuff. And then that is cut all the old-fashioned ways, like it's cut with a small reaper binder on the side of a tractor. It's then stooped in fields. It's then collected once it's dried out within the fields. It's cut green essentially, because we want the stem to be nice and strong. We don't want it to over ripen in the field. So it's cut green, stooped in the field to allow it to dry out. Then it's collected up, and then it's gone through a thrashing machine. So it's like an old Victorian machine, like something from a Thomas Hardy novel. And it's thrashed through there, combed out, so all the sort of leaf and things are taken out of it and sheathed up. And then we use that. Predominantly, that's what I use. I'd say probably 80% of the work I use is that. Because in the UK, we have what we call listed buildings. And so the building has to have whatever material was on there before, we have to then replace that.
Right.
Say like for like.
How so a couple of curious questions I have, and I'm pretty sure everybody would be interested in this. First of all, what is the average thickness that you put down in layers?
Yeah, so keeping with the straw, material at the moment. Straw is put on about 12 inches onto that. Now that isn't directly onto timber either. So we keep a small base layer of straw on which is already attached to the timbers. And then the new, so we strip off and we probably leave about 12 inches, maybe 8 inches to the timbers. And then we go over again for 12 inches. So you're looking on average, it's probably about 2 foot thick when we finished. But bear in mind that as soon as I've finished, it is actually wearing, and because it's organic, it's already sort of degrading. So by the time it comes to the end of that life, it's shrank considerably and it's back down then to maybe a foot and a half. So then we take that half foot off and start again.
Now that leads me to my next question. What is the average life before you have to add on?
Yeah, so with straw, the ridge itself will need replacing sort of every 12 to 15 years, and that protects the main coat underneath. And then the main coat would need replacing on average about every 30 years, give or take the other way. And then you've got the other materials, water reed, which is predominantly sort of European reed. In England, it's what we call Norfolk reed. So it's mainly in Norfolk, although it has spread throughout the whole country now. And that's a water reed, which is a lot tougher, coarser material. And that is fixed directly onto timbers with steel bar and screws. And that will last. That could last about 70 years in the right conditions. And again, we are governed with listed buildings. So if it was water reed, we'd replace it with water reed. Although a lot of the new builds that we have, they always pretty much opt to go with water reed just because of the lifespan of it, basically.
So you were saying earlier that you learned a trade from your dad, and then he taught you the trade and worked with you. How many years would you say of actually doing it did it take you to be to the level of craftsman that you are now?
Yeah, I think it's 10 plus years, really.
Yeah.
I think officially the apprenticeship is 4-year apprenticeship, but I think by the end of that 4 years, you've got a sort of the basic understanding. But I think it's going to be 10 years really before you actually become competent, and then you can start giving more artistic license, is what I'm trying to do. It's just because the time scale of every job is quite long. There's no machinery or anything. It's all put on by hand. So each roof can take a couple of months to do. So you're not going to get through the variation within a 12-month period to be sort of really competent. It needs to stack up for about 10 years, I would say.
So if a young person wanted to come into the field of doing that, what would be the process?
Yeah, the process would be you'd have to contact your local Master Thatcher, and it would be very old-fashioned apprenticeship. So it was just working alongside the Thatcher himself. There's no college course or anywhere you can go and learn in a barn or anything like that. It's all on site and it's all just shadowing. So to get into it, it's quite tricky to get into it. I'm very fortunate that I could come into it from my family, but you would really need to know and contact your local Master Thatcher to get into that.
That's interesting. So I love the idea that this is one of the, I'll call it ancient part of roofing, right? Because you go back so many centuries where thatch was at one time one of the original roof coverings around the world. And the fact that you can take, and I can understand the 10-year process makes total sense to me, because it is an art form to do it, and it's pure craftsmanship. So I think the fact that it's the year 2021 and you're still able to be out there and there's still a market for it, and you're passing down this ancient tradition. And I can tell you, I've done a lot of roofs, different types of roofs here in the US, but I've never ever done thatch. So I have, it's amazing. That's why this is great to hear about this today.
Yeah, it's funny because in the UK, a thatched roof 100 years ago would have been a sign of poverty, but now it's complete reverse.
Sure.
It's a prestige roof to have. And as you say, none of the techniques that I use have changed hundreds of years. And I think for me, the exciting thing about thatching is that the sustainability of the material, the environmentally friendly side of things. It's, everything we use is organically grown. It's carbon neutral. It's totally friendly for the earth. And I think that's really exciting in this day and age.
Absolutely. Why other roofing systems and other industries are trying to go green, right? That's the whole way the world's trying to move now.
Yeah.
You're the original go green. I mean, that's it. That you can't get anywhere greener than that.
No,
that's great. So what else would you like to share with us today, Joe, that we haven't covered? Something that I didn't bring out, or so you want to tell us about one of the, say, the most challenging jobs you did, or the most proud job you are of, or something like that?
Well, the thing that really excites me is the modernisation of Thatcher. So it hasn't hit the UK yet, but if you look at Germany and Holland, they're doing vertical wall thatching. So they're not only covering the roof structure, they're coming down the walls, and they've got like apartment buildings where they've actually cladded in thatch. And to me, it's just very exciting. It looks brilliant. It does the job. The insulation values are great, far greater than anything that is required by UK regulation. Right. So it just ticks all the boxes at the moment, and I'm just trying to push it even more in the UK.
So that was a great point you brought up. I didn't think about that. So the R value per inch is actually really good with the thatching. Yeah,
absolutely. Great. Yeah. So, with a thatch roof, there's no need for any kind of lagging in the loft or anything like that. The thatch itself is far exceeding what is required. And in fact, it works. You've got the best of both worlds. So in the winter, it keeps you nice and warm. You won't let any heat escape. But again, in the summer, it's deflecting all the sun, all the heat. So it's easy cool in the house as well. So it really is a fantastic material for the roof.
Well, I will tell you, Joe, anytime, and I know you're putting up through roof mapping, and we'll get to Andrew here in a minute. He can tell us about some of the projects he's got up there of yours, but anytime you want to be willing enough to share any of your work on a video or some photos, please get them on over. I'd love to do some follow-up, social media posts on the craftsmanship that you're doing. Absolutely. And if you ever make a trip over here to the United States, let me know ahead of time. If you were ever in the Florida area, I'll bring you in and show you our training center, and boy, we could probably be amazing what you'd be able to show us over here. That's absolutely wonderful. I'm really been a pleasure to talk to you today about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to bring it over and show you guys, what we do.
Well, the invitation's there, so when you're ready, let me know. We'll be happy to help you make those arrangements.
Thank you.
So Andrew, I'm going to kick it back over to you a minute. Why don't you kind of lead in now? I think it'd be a good point to talk about what you're putting up there. And I know, like Joe's a craftsman. He's got his jobs going on in different areas of the country, or, different villages, wherever he's at. So what's the process to get that up onto your site?
So at the moment, there's a form that can be filled in. It's quite manual at the moment. So the details are sent to me with the photographs. I put them onto the database, which in turn then sort of puts them on the website. So it's all back end at the moment. The vision is that it will get to a stage where, you can create an account. It's all for free. There's no cost to put jobs on or to view roofs on the map, but create an account and you can then control what you put on the map yourself. That's a little bit further down the line. But, it was on Instagram. I have a small footprint on Instagram, but that's where I first saw the work of Joe. And it just, you see it and you think, oh my gosh, that is absolutely amazing. Because I was showing my wife, who isn't that supportive because she doesn't really understand why I'm doing this. But she saw the pictures of 2 of Joe's cottages that he's done. And she was like, wow, that's amazing. And that's what I want to get across to the general public, is actually what is above you that you don't really pay much attention to until it needs replacing or it leaks on your head. there is a world of craft and a world of, you know, gorgeous roofs up there. So, and that's what the explore part of it, you know, the tagline for the website is explore the world above us, because there is so much, there's a great wealth of great work up there. You know, thatch is beautiful, but you know, you've got lead, you've got the hard metals, tiling, you know, liquids, felt, all of these different materials are installed by craftsmen who train, who have pride in what they do. And that's, you know, that's the backbone of the website. It's to not only give the manufacturer somewhere to promote their materials, or, you know, the larger contractors to say, oh, look, we did this massive job. You know, I want the installers, the actual craftspeople who are on their hands and knees on the scaffold installing, to say, actually, I did this. You know, look at, this is the quality of my work, so that they can have somewhere to show that pride and passion. Because, and you know, I think, is it Avon Cottage that you won the Thatch of the Year, Joe, in 2000?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That was the first one that we put on roofmapping.com. You know, and the little finial animals you've got on there, I think it's a mother duck and her ducklings. You know, it's just those little touches that Joe puts onto the roofs. You know, he's got fighting hares, he's got cats and all sorts of stuff he'll put on there. I'm assuming that's a client preference, but he does all those, and it's those little little touches that he does. I'm assuming he has a style or, you know, pattern that he likes to follow. But I think it might be on Latchways. There'll be some new photos going up on the website that I've just received. But you can just see, you know, the lines that he creates in the thatch. There's no joints. It's just so ergonomic and beautiful sort of curves. And one of the videos I saw, he's doing it with a knife. And you think, my gosh, how sharp is that knife for a start to cut through with such precision? I'm assuming you've got a good stone sharpener. But yeah, it's just watching him work on some of the videos that he's put on. You think that's a real craftsman. And, you know, I just want to show more people what that is, because, you know, it's quite enclosed at the moment. I haven't gone out to the general public, but that's my ultimate game or aim, once there's more roofs on there, is to say, look, if you want a roof, have a look what's around you. If you need a thatch, go on the website and see what thatch roofs have been done in the last, I don't know, 5 years or 10 years in a particular radius of my cottage or house. So it's giving that information to the public so that they can make informed contacts for roofing contractors, because they'll know that they can do what they need them to do, because there'll be examples of it on the website. You know, and if they see one of Joe's, they can say, well, actually show me all of Joe's roofs on the map, and it will just show all of them, what the area that he covers, the different roofs, the different styles. And they can say, oh, actually, I like what you did on this ridge. Can you do that for me? So yeah, it's just, there's a lot of information on various social media posts, whether it be LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, various websites from companies all over the world. And I suppose what I'm trying to do is get all of that information and to put it into one place so that it can just be searched and investigated and explored.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I mean, so much has been lost over the years. I mean, I wish, you know, when my grandfather was doing this, I had more photos and more pictures of him and the work that he did, but it just didn't exist. I have some, not what I'd like to, but, you know, in today's world with everything being digital, you know, once it's on your site, it's there for, you know, it's there forever. So it lives. It's going to live well beyond all of us, which is great. So that's really the whole purpose of this. We're kind of coming to our end here, and I want to thank you both for taking the time to join me today. And of course, Andrew, you know, as a co-host, you're going to be on here a lot. We're going to continue to do these, but this is what this is about. So the listeners out there understand this is only about promoting the quality and the craftsmanship that's going on around the world by the people who are out there every single day, not only keeping us dry, but taking it to that next level and giving you a lot for, you know, what you're getting on it. It'll, you know, let's face it, the roof is the fifth wall, right? That's what it's always known as, but it's time to start showcasing that fifth wall, because it's important and it looks good. So Joe, pleasure having you on here today, and we're going to have you on here more. I can see it. We're going to have a follow-up, because we could have spent hours going through this today. We want to get some of your stuff shared out there with your permission. We'll get coordinated. I want people to see the craftsman that you are. And Andrew, I want to thank you today for your time. An announcement for us, we do have a webinar coming up. We'll be announcing everybody soon to really showcase roofmapping.com and what they're doing, so the whole world can start to see it and start to use it and really get out there to see what craftsmen such as Joe does every single day. So again, guys, I want to thank you a lot for your time, and we'll catch you on the next one. Everybody out there, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Just pause it.